All right, and welcome into the Betting Pros College Football Show. We're officially into football weather with a calendar flipping to November, which means we've got our Week 11 early picks and line movement predictions for the top 10 games on the slate coming your way. I'm your host, Seth Woolcock, and I'm joined by someone who is also personally victimized by the YouTube TV ESPN dispute, but don't worry, folks. He still got that Fubo subscription on lock, baby. He's Scott Bogman. Boggs, how are you after another wild weekend of college ball that was certainly seen by fewer viewers and gamblers than usual?
Yeah, look, weird week. This week is also another weird one. I said it was going to be the Vegas get back week. Gunnar Stockton. Oh, man, I hate that stuff. I hate kneeling on the one. It makes me so mad. But look, none of it matters. Texas beat Vandy. Back in the national picture. Arch Manning looked great.
Yes,
he looked like the guy that the prince that was promised before the season. So, yeah, I'm very excited about college football currently. Longhorns have a bye week. I might sleep in on Saturday. I won't, but, maybe up to kickoff. But, yeah, it's gonna be another fun one like it always is.
Yeah, I'm excited for it. Hopefully we get a little bit of resolution so I can see the full allotment of game. Because real bummer about that, man. Like, it was the one weekend that I was finally getting together with both my brothers. First Saturday of the year. My younger brother leaving for the State Police Academy next week. So, man, like, what an absolute bummer. None of the big games that we got to watch. My big bro's a Texas fan like you, so we missed the Vandy-Texas game. I couldn't even watch Georgia-Florida or the G5 game of the week, North Texas-Navy. So maybe I saved myself a little bit of heartbreak there.
You did. Because we were on that North Texas-Navy over and Georgia. But so you saved yourself a little issue. But I would rather see it, man.
Right.
I don't, two massive companies arguing with each other over who needs more money.
Right. Yeah.
We're the ones that get hosed.
Smart people. Figure it out. Come on. And I'm also excited for today's program, Boggs, because it looks like this. We'll recap all the Week 10 action, the betting risers, the betting fallers. We're also going to give everyone an early handicap of the top 10 games for Week 11. And as always, shout out to everyone who frequented the Betting Pros YouTube channel and the audio feed so far this fall. The easiest free way to support us, please give this video a thumbs up if you enjoy this type of content. And also, make sure you subscribe to the channel if you're new, because you don't want to miss a moment of the college football and NFL betting coverage coming your way for the rest of the season. And let's go ahead and jump in. But before we do, I wanted to make a quick announcement that the winner of the signed Nick Chubb's Browns helmet giveaway is Jonah Goratas. Jonah, congratulations. I hope I didn't butcher your last name. Too bad. Maybe Gutierrez. I'm not totally sure the pronunciation on that, but all I know is that you won this sweet giveaway from our friends over at pristineauction.com. So congrats again, Jonah. We will be getting in touch with you to get you that prize. So stay on the lookout for our emails, DMs, things like that. And also, if you want a chance to score this signed Kyron Williams Rams helmet giveaway for free, courtesy of our friends over at pristineauction.com, all you need to do is head to bettingpros.com/contest, complete the form, and either A, download the Betting Pros app, B, leave a review for the Betting Pros podcast, or C, subscribe to our social media handles. We're at Betting Pros on X and TikTok, and at Betting Pros NFL on the Instagram. The more actions you complete, the more entries you're going to receive, and we will announce a winner right here on the channel. So make sure you ring the bell so you can be alerted when new episodes are up and to claim your prize if you are that lucky winner. Now, in case you miss any of the Week 10 action, which I'm sure a lot of you did, let's recap what went down on Thursday night. UTSA, they upset G5 playoff bid contender Tulane 48-26. I saw the comments giving me a little bit of crap on that pick. I apologize. I called off the green wave. Yeah.
That was a look ahead.
It was.
We'll get to that. Yeah.
Yes. And also on Friday night, too, Bill Belichick, North Carolina, they take down Syracuse 27-10. So good look for Belichick and the gang down there. And we also had number 1 Ohio State shutting down Penn State in the second half to win 38-14. I got my hopes up just a little bit there in the first half. Boggs, a turnover into a touchdown late in that one. But Ohio State does what Ohio State does. And number 2 Indiana, they dispose of Maryland 55-10. We heard some rumors there might be a coaching change there for the Terrapins, but that is not the case. They're sticking packed. And we also saw North Texas soaring past Navy 31-17. Duke continues Clemson's disappointing season, winning 46-45. Number 5 Georgia, they win 24 220 against the Florida Gators. Failed to cover with that Gunnar Stockton kneel down. Number 7, Ole Miss wins and covers against South Carolina as well. And then we saw NC State. NC State, I knew it was a trappy game, Boggs, but they end the perfect season. They ruin my cash out opportunity for the Georgia Tech Yellow Jackets, winning 48-36 in that ACC clash there. We also had number 20 Texas hold off number 9 Vanderbilt, and that late surge they had 34-31. SMU takes down number 10 Miami as well. Cristobal being Cristobal, baby. And then number 13 Texas Tech proved they still got it, taking down Kansas State 43-20. Number 18 Oklahoma, they get out of Knoxville a winner 33-27 over number 14 Tennessee. Number 24 Utah, they dominated number 17 Cincinnati 45-17. I know you were high on the Utes last week. And then Fresno State beats down Boise State 32-7 to shake up the Mountain West standings a little bit. And then Kentucky beats Auburn 10-3, leading to the firing of Hugh Freeze. So, Boggs,
finally,
who were the betting risers and the fallers aside from Hugh Freeze's pocketbook?
Yeah, look, I mean, Boise State lost their quarterback. That's why they got beat so bad. And Fresno State's just one of those dangerous teams that very well disciplined, very well coached. Matt Enns, coming over from USC, is a very good head coach. So excited to see what Fresno State has in the future. But that is why Boise State lost that game. I was shocked Oklahoma beat down Tennessee so bad. It really was not a close game. And they scored at the end. I almost got the same kneel down from Gunnar Stockton at the one I almost had happen to me in that Tennessee-Oklahoma game too, because Oklahoma broke it and then kneeled it at the one, but then said, screw it. Let's upset Josh Heupel a little bit more and pushed it in. And then Tennessee scored again. So I got that over going away, which made me happy. Miami losing to SMU, maybe the least surprising thing on the a weekend of a couple surprises, but we knew Cristobal was going to choke. That's the way that Cristobal is. Cristobal, it drops one of these every single year. We see it all the time. It's kind of the opposite of Mark Stoops. It feels like at Kentucky, Mark Stoops bows up on a game, one every single year, and like they did against Texas, like they did against Georgia last year. It's kind of the opposite effect, but Cristobal is going down at some point, and he did. Man, I was really surprised that Texas Tech looked so good because Baron Morton was just 100%, right? So they just went in and whooped Kansas State. That was a 1 week, great defensive performance from Kansas State, and that was over against Texas Tech. So Texas Tech back to being probably the best team in the Big 12 here, in my opinion.
Yes.
Your Georgia Tech team, they even did what I thought. I was like, look, if they can pass on NC State, I think they're going to win. The defense is what didn't come through for them. NC State was great. They just ran right over Georgia Tech, so not even close there. Georgia, the kneel down at the one. What are we doing? Aren't there a lot of Georgia fans that needed that cover? Score. Come on, man. Get us
the field goal at least. Yeah, come on.
Did you see the tweet from Duke football at Clemson?
No. What was it?
They put the Spirit logo on the stadium and said Death Valley at night, huh? So yeah, that was something along those lines. That was fantastic. Navy couldn't move the ball against North Texas. We'll get into that in a little bit. Indiana is just continuing to dominate, and there are rumors that when these playoff rankings come out later today, as you're listening to this, Indiana is going to be the number 1 team, and Ohio State's going to be number 2 because of the resume. So I don't know if that's going to be true, but that is the rumblings that we're hearing late Monday as we record this. So Indiana might be your number 1 team after this week. Ohio State's Ohio State. I do not care about North Carolina beating Syracuse. Syracuse is one of the more beat-up teams in the country.
I'm happy for Tar Heel fans and Bill Belichick. It's been a rough year for them, guys.
I do not care about Bill Belichick's stupid feelings at all. As a Steelers fan, I could care less. So he needs to go. He hasn't been a good coach since Brady left, which means maybe he was never as good as they thought. He was always a good coach and one of the best coaches ever, but probably not to the level. I just think about that coaching in football in general. I think you're as good as the players on your field. I think you can make it work, but it's easier to screw it up than it is to make it work, which is what makes Sig such a great coach, right? You come into James Madison, make it great. You go to Indiana, you make it great. So if you had him with amazing players, you know, what would he do if he was at Florida or LSU? We won't find out because he got that extension, but maybe in his next signing. But yeah, I mean, it was a weird week. It was a Vegas get back week. I was happy to go 4-5 instead of 3-6. So I was happy about that, but made more money than I lost this week again. So even though my record wasn't as good, so we like that.
Yeah, I'm really excited to see how the first look at the college football playoff turns out. And I think we're starting to get to a point where the ACC, how it's shaking out, we might only get one team out of that conference, right? Like that's kind of seeing how it's going to play out with Georgia Tech losing that, whether it's Louisville, whether it's Georgia Tech, or whether it's someone else out of that conference. I just don't know. I don't know who Virginia.
Be a very narrow path to getting two teams. So I think you're right. I think it's going to be whoever the ACC title, the ACC champ is probably going to be the one team they have in the playoff.
And I think the G5 starting to become a bit clearer too. It feels like it's really Memphis or North Texas or South Florida out of the American, or maybe JMU out of the Sun Belt. I'm hearing a lot of chirps out of the Sun Belt backers that, hey, the Sun Belt's just as good as the American. I don't think it is, but still, I think it's really a race between those four or so teams right now for me.
Who wants to get beat by 20 in the opening round of the playoffs? Yep.
We'll see. We'll see what happens. And Boggs, let's go ahead and let's jump right into the games. And let's start on Friday with the top team in this week's G5 media rankings, the 22nd ranked Memphis Tigers, who are laying 6 to 7 points against the Tulane Green Wave. I called off Tulane last week. Apologies out there to the Green Wave backers and supporters. They were upset at UTSA 48-26, falling 2-6-2 straight up, 3-4-1 ATS as well. In that game, quarterback Jake Retzoff, he was benched after throwing 2 picks. And the Green Wave, they now fall to 82nd in scoring offense and their defense outside the top 100 in total yards allowed. Memphis, they are currently 8-1 straight up, 4-4-1 ATS, coming off back-to-back wins and covers at Rice and against USF the week prior as well. Their quarterback, Brendan Lewis, who was banged up a few weeks ago, currently leading the American in passing completion percentage, 69.1%. Their wide receiver, Cortez Bram, also leading the conference with 7 touchdowns, giving the Tigers the 12th ranked scoring offense. Boggs, this is a game that Memphis won by 10 last year, but feels really, really up for grabs this season, specifically with all the conference championship implications on the line. Do you have an early read on it? Because I do not.
Yeah, I think we've seen both these teams do the look-ahead game, right?
Absolutely.
We saw Memphis do it in UAB in the middle of October, and Tulane just did it last week with UTSA looking ahead to this Memphis matchup. You mentioned how Retzlaff was benched against UTSA after 2 picks, 14 for 28, 198 yards, a touchdown, and touchdown. And
looked like Geno Smith out there, just like wailing it once they got down, man.
he ran well, 7 for 16 to score. But both of these teams are built around their quarterback. You mentioned as well with Brendan Lewis, and the only game that Memphis has lost is also the only game they haven't covered. And that was when Brendan Lewis got hurt in that UAB game. That was the game that they lost. And you remember UAB scored a lot of points after Lewis went down. So they just couldn't move the ball after that. Then I thought Brendan Lewis wasn't going to play the following week because he didn't meet with the media. Well, he shut me up. Not only did he play, but they also came back and beat USF in that game. So I think the bigger issue for Tulane last week was not the quarterback. It was the defense. They gave up 523 yards, 391 passing. UTSA quarterback Owen McCown, season high in passing before this facing Tulane, was 238 yards against Incarnate Word.
Oh, my goodness.
He went 31 of 33 for 370 yards and 4 touchdowns in that game against Tulane. I think the defense is the problem. It's not Retzlaff. I don't care that he was benched. He's going to start in this game. He's probably going to play well. We're showing lots of value towards Memphis right now. This is the first game and only game that I have a ticket on right now, and it is for the Memphis Tigers.
Okay. Yeah, man, if I knew Josh McCown's son was going to look like that out there, I don't know if I would have backed Tulane as heavily as I did last week. Because
who would know? His season high before that was 238 against an FCS team.
Right. Yeah, they certainly.
They're a run-first team, UTSA.
So,
but they did it with the passing because Tulane was not ready for it.
Leading rusher in the conference they have in that backfield. So, and it felt like at times towards the end of that game that they didn't even need him. So, Yeah, I think Memphis is the correct side. I'm going to pull off on that one and maybe wait. Maybe there's a total I would get invested with there, like a Memphis team over or something. That might be the way I try to get something in on Friday. We know there'll probably be some boost out there from Hard Rock and some other books as well that you can potentially lighten that investment and boost your winnings there. So also on Friday, Boggs, we have the 5-3 Northwestern Wildcats, who are catching between 14 and 15 points against the 20th ranked USC Trojans. Northwestern is off the bye, and their 5-game winning streak was snapped in Nebraska. Still, they've covered in 5 straight to get to 5-2-1 ATS. This team is predicated really on running the ball effectively, 29th in the nation in rushing, and also playing pretty dang good defense as well, 13th in scoring, 19th in total yards allowed. USC, they are off that comeback win in Nebraska, and now in a potential look-ahead spot with Iowa and Oregon up on deck next here. Quarterback Jane Maeva, he's been great, still leads the conference in passing yards per game, putting them second in total offense in the country. We also have their wide receiver Mekhi Lemon, who has slowed down a little bit as late, but still sitting third in the conference right now in reception. So Scott Bogman, do you have a play in this one against two teams that are going head to head in the Big Ten, and one of them that got our boy James Franklin fired?
I kind of like the under in this game. Northwestern opened up on the road against Tulane, right? They looked downright embarrassing. You remember that game, week 1. It was awful. They couldn't catch anything. Turns out that was one of 2 against the spread losses that they had all season, along with UCLA. And then they had a push 2 weeks ago with Nebraska, but that wasn't a loss. USC is even against the spread and on over-unders. They're at home, and we're showing value towards USC, but I'm a little skeptical. Northwestern has beaten the spread against Oregon. They beat Penn State on the road straight up. They pushed on the road against Nebraska and beat UCLA, which looks like a much more impressive win now, right?
Sure. Oh, yeah.
I think I like the under, even though we're showing more value towards the line here. USC should win this game, and they should win by double digits. They're at home, and even though the offense was garbage against Nebraska, they played well on defense before even before knocking Raiola out of the game. I think Preston Stone is incredibly hard to put your money behind, but I like the passing defense of Northwestern, the fact that the Trojans defense has been strong. So I just think the current state of the way both these teams are playing, I think the under is probably the best bet here. I don't like that we're showing value towards USC because Northwestern's been covering some of these larger spreads, but I also don't want to trust Preston Stone and Northwestern going across the country to USC. So I think in terms of the side, I'm definitely a stay away. Okay. I don't want to mess with it.
It's a lot of points.
I think the under is the play in this game, and I think it's going to go up. So this is one I'm going to wait to take. That's why I said I only have the 1 ticket so far, and it is on Memphis. I'm going to wait and see if this total ticks up, because I think a lot of people love to see the offense from USC and expect them to play better, because Maeva really was not good against Nebraska.
Yeah, and if that total does tick up there and you want to get invested, there's no better place to get invested than with our presenting sponsor, Hard Rock Bet. This is the golden time of year when it's not just pro football, it's also NBA, college football, college hoops, and hockey all sharing the stage. There's always something to bet on. If you haven't tried your first bet on Hard Rock yet, don't worry, there's still time for you to get $150 in bonus bets if you win. Just place a $5 bet, and if it hits, you not only get your winnings, but also $150 in extra bonus bets. And if you're looking for an edge before you lock in, well, then just go ahead and check out the Hard Rock Bet Stats Hub. It's loaded with trends, stats, streaks, all to help you guide your picks. Numbers don't lie, and neither does the data in there. Check out the Stats Hub now, get the edge, and bet with confidence. The Hard Rock Bet Sportsbook app is the only legal sportsbook for whenever you're in the great state of Florida, and it's also live in Arizona, Ohio, New Jersey, Indiana, Tennessee, Virginia, Illinois, and Colorado, with more states coming soon. Plus, Hard Rock Bet also offers new promos every single day. So whenever you're listening, just open up the app and check out what they've got for you any day this week. Go ahead and download the Hard Rock Bet app today and make your first deposit. Speaking of Penn State, we have the Nittany Lions, who are 14.5 to 16.5 point dogs against the number 2 Indiana Hoosiers, coming into Happy Valley. Penn State, of course, just 3-5 this season, 0-5 in Big Ten play. They did just score 14 points on the nation's best defense, though, in the first half of Saturday's game before being shut out in the second half against the Buckeyes. And the backfield seems to have completely flipped here, Bogman. We now have Katron Allen, who outtouched Nick Singleton 23-9. 9 in that game against Ohio State after being way more effective all season long. Still, the Nittany Lions just 1-7 ATS, one of the country's worst records against the spread, and not being able to get their opponent off the field and also stopping the big plays has really hurt this defense. Indiana, absolute wagon. We don't have to say much about them. They're actually on the verge of cashing my team total win ticket. I have them over 9.5 wins at plus 118. So very happy about that. They're 9-0 straight up, 6-3 ATS as well. Fernando Mendoza, wow, he's still a little bit on my naughty list here heading into the Christmas season for what he did against Iowa. Plus 230 win the Heisman, leading the Hoosiers to the top scoring offense and the third ranked scoring offense as well. Or the third ranked total offense as well. And they also have the third ranked scoring defense and the seventh ranked total defense, allowing no team other than Oregon to put up over 15 points on them. And if you remember, the Ducks only 20 points scored in that game. So Bogman, is this a spot where we see Cignetti let Penn State know what they missed out on and drum another mediocre Big Ten team?
I think so. I think they win big here, but I'm going to do the world a favor. I'm not going to bet this game. And I'll tell you why. It's because this team is 6-3 against the spread, Indiana.
Okay.
I've lost my 2 bets that I placed on them. ODU
Old Dominion,
and Iowa. Those were my 2 games where I bet them, and those were 2 of the 3 they didn't cover. The other one was they only won by 24 against Michigan State and didn't cover their 26.5. So that was the only other game that they did not cover. So they're covering big spreads here. And look, I don't think we're getting the full quit from Penn State, but I think things like Katron Allen playing over Nicholas Singleton, you're going to have depth charts moves like that for guys that want to play versus guys that are going through the motions at this point, right? So you kind of have to suss that out, and obviously they haven't. But look, I'll say this for you, Seth. 14 points is double how much Texas put on Ohio State, right? So there you go. Yeah. We only let them score 14, but that was that's the difference there. But we could not move the ball. But Grunkemeyer was 19 of 28 for only 145 yards and a pick, 200 yards of offense. They just look pathetic. Indiana is not only 9-0. But they're 6-3 against the spread, as I mentioned, and Penn State is 1-7 against the spread. Obviously, favored in a lot of those games that they outright lost. But Penn State might, keep it close for the first half like they did against Ohio State. But I don't think after that they're going to make any proper adjustments, and Indiana rolls in the second half. So I'm going to be on the Hoosiers big here, but I'm going to do the world a favor and not put money on it, so that Indiana can cover. So that is me helping everyone else. You're welcome.
Yeah, I would usually not want to get invested with a road team laying this many points in Happy Valley, but right now, the weather for Saturday, we're looking between 40 and 50 degrees at kickoff, Bogman. So I just don't think there's going to be that many people in the stadium. Like, I think people are kind of over at this point. We're already at that, November midterms are coming up for a lot of these students. They're hitting the books. So I don't know. I think we're, not going to have a lot of, not have a lot of crowd in this game, not have a lot of defense to stop Fernando Mendoza. So I think I probably will end up laying the points against Penn State. Not something I like to do, but here we are. So
you like money. So.
Yeah. I do. That I do. And next up, we've got the 5th-ranked Georgia Bulldogs in Starkville to battle the 5-4 Mississippi State Bulldogs as 7.5 to 8.5 point favorites. UGA, they were trailing Florida for most of the world's largest outdoor cocktail party, but end up coming back, not covering, putting them 7-1 straight up, 3-5 ATS this season. The pass rush still an absolute major concern, averaging just 1 sack per game. We've talked about it all season long, 131st in pass rush. And also, when you look at their offensive skill players, they've come on of late. I think that's really what's carrying this team here. The running back, Chauncey Bowens, he's been great. Zachariah Branch coming over from USC last year, he's finally starting to pick up the pace as well. Mississippi State, though, that come off back-to-back SEC shootouts, getting the win and cover against Arkansas last week to move to 8-1 ATS. Just one of 4 teams with a record of that good or better this season. They do have Fluff Bothwell back in the backfield. Also, wide receivers Brennan Thompson and Anthony Evans III. they've been fantastic. I know you've had a lot of props cash on them so far this season, and currently leading the SEC in receptions is Anthony Evans III with 52. So really like what the Bulldogs have been doing. Their biggest weakness, though, is their rushing defense and time possession. So will Georgia capitalize on that and win by over a touchdown in this spot, Boggs?
I don't think so. Georgia has started weak or slow every single week. Georgia hasn't been great at starting these games, specifically on the road. They were losing to Tennessee and Auburn at halftime on the road, and then they were tied in this neutral site game against Florida, right? Mississippi State is also desperate for one win to become bowl eligible. But listen to this schedule, these 3 games. It's Georgia, it's Missouri, and Ole Miss. They're not winning any of those games, I don't think.
They might be Missouri without Pribrola up, maybe.
That is a possibility. I think Zollers might be better, but we'll see. Definitely not better at this stage in his career, right?
Sure.
So I think you're going to see their best effort. They want to get to a bowl. They want to be bowl eligible and get into a bowl. So I think you're going to see their best effort. They lost in overtime to Tennessee at home. They should have beat Texas, and they did beat Arizona State before Arizona State was crazy injured. Yep. So I don't think they can win this game, but with Georgia starting slow on the road, Starkville being crazy and loud as they are, I like Mississippi State to cover at home. And maybe a first half cover is a better play as well. So I like Mississippi State in this game at home to cover the spread, but it's a lean. I think this might come down. There's a lot of money towards Mississippi State right now, but I think once you get the Georgia backers, it's probably not going to move too much from where it is right now. So, but I would like it to move out a little bit more. I'd like to see 8.5 or 9.5 in this game. Yeah. Because Georgia is a much better team in terms of roster strength and just history, specifically in a game like this. But I think this is going to be a close one. I think most likely is you save your best for Ole Miss in that rivalry game, but at home, you got to throw your best effort out there. So I think Georgia gets everything they can handle from Mississippi State, but I still think they win.
I like the first half cover. I think that's the maybe sharp play in this one, just because, like you said, UGA getting off to slow starts and usually having to rally back for wins and sometimes covers when they don't kneel it at the one. But that is a different rant. Let's move forward here to a top 10 matchup in Lubbock, where control for the Big 12 is on the line. The 9th-ranked Texas Tech Red Raiders are 10 to 10.5 point home favorites against the undefeated and 8th-ranked BYU Cougars. That's likely because Tech is coming off just an absolute smacking of Kansas State to get to 8-1 straight up, 7-2 ATS as well. Quarterback Baron Morton, he was back buzzing last week, but it was really the Tech defense forcing 5 turnovers of the Wildcats and running backs Cameron Dickey and Jacoby Williams, who were doing most of the heavy lifting on Saturday. Tech still sits 3rd in scoring offense, 5th in scoring defense, featuring the nation's best running defense. And that might be an issue for the Cougars, who are a top 15 rushing offense, scoring at the 19th highest clip because of it. BYU, though, they are coming in here and they are having 3 straight wins in the Big 12 to get to this point, 6-2 ATS. Boggs, how do you think this line shifts throughout the week? Because the key number of 9.5 is already gone if you wanted Tech, and it just feels like a really, really big number for 2 really good teams and one being undefeated.
I think Texas Tech should win this game by 3 touchdowns. Wow. Will I bet it? Absolutely not.
Right.
There's some weird miracle Mormon magic happening for BYU right now, and I don't want to mess with it.
Sure.
I think this is where their streak ends. I think it has to be on the road against a number 1 rushing defense in the country. Seriously, BYU has had a less than 50% win expectancy against Utah. It was 52%, and then Iowa State had a 83% win expectancy in that last game that BYU won going away because of the weird bounces that they got in that game. They should not have won. They were dominated in that game, but they ended up winning it. It's just the way that it's been going for them. They're coming off the bye week. Texas Tech reset expectations after missing Baron Morton for a few weeks and then absolutely smashing Kansas State 43-20. They won by 23 points. They put up 436 yards of offense. BYU has been rolling. They've been doing it all year. I just don't think they're going to be able to stand up to Texas Tech in this game. I don't love the double-digit spread, though. I can't stand it. I would love to see it get to 8.5, 7.5, but as you said, it has already moved out towards Texas Tech. I'm going to lean towards the Red Raiders here, but I'm not going to mess with it because I don't know whatever juju is happening with BYU right now. It is, it's working for them. And they were expected to be the worst team in the Big 12 this year after letting Retzlaff go late in the process. BYU was supposed to be one of the worst teams in the Big 12, and they are now one of the best teams in the Big 12, but I do not think they are going to be able to hang with Texas Tech on the road.
Funny how that happens 2 years in a row in the Big 12.
Yes, it really, for BYU twice. Yeah.
Yep. Guys, if you want to track your bets, stay accountable, and level up your betting game, make sure you download the free BettingPros app today. With Sportsbook Sync, you can automatically track your bets across all major books in just one simple spot. Easily monitor your bet performance by sport and bet type, including game picks, props, and of course, parlays. Create custom betting systems to find winning trends and profitable opportunities. New users, you can get yourself 6 months of BP Premium on the house for free with your first deposit and wager at any of our partner sportsbooks. Learn more now at bettingpros.com/premium. At 3:30 in Iowa City, it's an elimination game in the Big Ten championship race with the number 6 Oregon Ducks sitting between 5.5 and 6.5 point road favorites over the 6-2 Iowa Hawkeyes. Bad weather, sloppy play, that led to the Ducks not covering the last time out against the Wisconsin Badgers, dropping them to just 5-3 ATS. But Dan Lanning's Ducks still remain top 5 in scoring offense, 6 in scoring defense, featuring the nation's top passing defense. And also, throwing the ball necessarily isn't Iowa's strength anyways. They're 132nd in passing offense under FCS transfer quarterback Mark Gronowski. They are 39th in rushing offense, second in total defense, creating a pretty suffocating ball controlling style of play. This is the first matchup since Oregon has joined the conference between the Hawkeyes and the Ducks. So how do you see it playing out this go around, Bogman?
Yeah, I don't like this game very much. How did Iowa lose to Iowa State, man? That one baffles me. Rivalry game, whatever. But I'm with their lean that Oregon should win this game, but I'll be honest, I can't back Oregon because the Hawkeyes already got me once this year at home. That's this the thing. Defense, that is it, man.
Yep.
This should be Oregon walking away. I think when you're playing out the scenarios in your head of how this game is going to go, I think the most likely scenario is Oregon gets up big, even not big, 14-0, 14-3 at halftime or something like that, right? And then you just hit the crap out of them because they have to pass the ball and they cannot protect Gronowski against Oregon. I doubt when he has to throw the ball. They haven't thrown the ball well at all. But is Oregon going to be able to just go in and score at will? I mean, Iowa is second in 10-plus yard plays allowed. They're second in total defense. They're fourth in scoring defense. They're fifth in passing and 10th in rushing and opponent's red zone scoring percentage. They're top 10 in. Wow. The defense is real, specifically at home for Iowa. I just don't think they can hang with the Ducks. But I thought they just couldn't hang with Indiana either. So I'm going to stay away from this game. Everything in my brain says Oregon, but I've lost money doing this before because, look, Indiana's blowing out everybody. They went into Iowa and won 20-15. They had the weird, your worst beat of the year with the safety thing.
Life.
Yeah, worst beat of your life. Right. So they had that as well. So I just can't. I'm not going to back the Ducks this week. I would lean towards Iowa in this spot, but I hate it. Everything in my brain says Oregon should walk away winning this game by a lot, but it just doesn't happen at Iowa.
Yeah, I'm seeing a minus 200 money line for the Ducks rolling around right now. So maybe if I can find a boost to get that down to even like a minus 150 or a minus 155, I'd probably drink that. Or potentially just parlay that with something. That's probably the way I would go, because I do agree with you. I do like the Ducks, but I don't like them anything more than a point or two just based off what happened to me with Mendoza and crew just a couple weeks ago. So Let's go ahead. Let's keep it moving. Let's get back into SEC country where it's the third-ranked Texas A&M Aggies coming into Columbia as 7 to 7.5 point road favorites against the 19th-ranked Missouri Tigers. Before the bye, Mike Elko's men, they went into Death Valley. They got Brian Kelly fired with a 49-25 win over LSU, moving the A&M Aggies to 8-0 straight up, 4-4 ATS on the season. The Aggies are currently tied with Bama at the top of the SEC standings. Their quarterback, Marcel Reed, is looking like a legitimate Heisman candidate, sitting right now at plus 850. He's got A&M scoring at the 11th highest clip, sitting top 35 in both passing and rushing, so very balanced offense. The defense still has been quite an issue, 60th in scoring, but they are leading the nation in sacks per game and opponent third down conversion rate. Missouri, meanwhile, they're coming off that bye, coming in at 5-2 straight up and ATS, but now it is life without Bo Pribula. Keep in mind, they also lost another one of their starting quarterbacks early in the season to an injury. Pribula is out for the year with that torn ACL, so that's going to leave Matt Zollers under center. He is a freshman, and he does still have Doak Walker Award candidate Ahmad Hardy in the backfield, who leads the SEC in rushing. They also have a top 5 total defense there in Mizzou. Boggs, I know it's going to be a rowdy environment, but I think I do want to lay the points here with A&M, specifically against Zollers in his first start. What about you?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think that I can back Missouri after what I saw against Auburn and Vanderbilt on the road, right? Like this game's at home and everything, but they were absolutely dominated along the line when they were on offense, and they just couldn't get anything rolling. Now, Texas A&M's defense doesn't seem to really match well with Missouri. The Tigers have been way better at home. They prefer to run the ball with Hardy first anyway, right? And the Texas A&M rushing defense is 33rd in the country. Their passing defense is 44th. They're way better on offense specifically right now. The Aggies offense in October was absolutely on fire. 31, 34, 45, and 49 against LSU. The Aggies defense peaked against Mississippi State, but has since surrendered 42 to Arkansas, 25 last week to a gross LSU offense that ended up firing Brian Kelly. So I like the over, and I want to wait because I want to see which way the line goes. I think it's already ticked down a point, if I'm not mistaken, to 48.5 here.
Okay.
These teams, they're close in roster strength, but similar in time of possession, total offense. But I think Texas A&M gets up, they force Missouri to pass, and then they start hitting the bejesus out of Zollers, which causes turnovers. And I think that ends up in a Texas A&M win, but this game could easily be a close one. I just like, I know A&M is going to score. They just have scored on pretty much everybody this year. It's what is Missouri going to do with Zollers? I think they're going to be able to move the ball a little bit against A&M. I think this is one of those A&M, like Arkansas, 45-42. This one with a true freshman first start, blah, blah, blah. But he's coming off a bye week. Let's make it, 31-17, 31-21, 31-24. Something like that. This game is supposed to be tight. I think A&M is going to score. If it's going to be tight like this, that means Missouri is going to score a little bit as well. So I like the over in this game.
We've also got a really interesting SEC clash in Nashville with the 15th ranked Vanderbilt Commodores currently sitting as 7 to 7.5 point home favorites against the 4-5 Auburn Tigers. Auburn, they will be on the dead cat bounce after parting ways with Hugh Freeze after a few seasons there. Currently sitting 3-6 after losing outright to the Kentucky Wildcats as 10.5 point favorites, so haven't been good against the spread this season. The Tigers also in the middle of a quarterback controversy after benching Jackson Arnold last week. We saw our former Stanford quarterback Ashton Daniels out there, and as many of us probably guessed, not much better. Vandy, Vandy got beat by Texas last week as 3.5 point home favorites. But they did all they could to mount a comeback in that one. Diego Pavia probably out of the Heisman conversation now, but the Commies still sitting 13th in scoring offense. Also have a pretty strong defense, mostly struggling to stop the pass and to limit big plays, as we saw Ryan Wingo take one to the house right off the rip there. So Boggs, we got bit by the dead cat bounce last week in that Florida-Georgia game. Are you willing to go against it in this spot with the Commodores?
The big question is, are we going to get that? And this offense has been so unbelievably horrific, but the Tigers have also faced the 5th hardest strength of schedule this season.
It's been tough. It's been tough.
I think if you had a coach that wasn't Hugh Freeze, that coach might still be there this season. Hugh Freeze should have been fired before the season started. He should not have come into this year, because I don't think this year was really his fault. It was
a lame duck year.
It's Jackson Arnold. That is the problem this year. And Ashton Daniels, like you mentioned, is not much better. That is your real problem, because everywhere else you have a great defense.
Best receiving core in the nation, maybe?
Probably in the SEC, at least. One of the better. I mean, Ohio State's pretty good.
Yeah, for sure.
I think one of the better ones in the country, and probably the best in the SEC, but nobody could get him the damn ball. That's the problem with them. That is the problem. They ended up benching him and starting Ashton Daniels, like you said, later in that game. Will the offense be more free and likely to succeed now that the pressure is off? That's a big question. Probably, but also Vandy did get stomped last week. They never quit fighting. That is the thing that you're going to get from Vandy, is they're never going to quit fighting. So this might be, they might be out of the race, Auburn, but I don't expect them to quit. However, I do expect this line to open up, and the higher it gets, the better Auburn is going to look. It's actually gone down 1 point now, from 7.5 to 6.5. So
there is 6.5 out there now. Okay.
Yeah, right before we started, I was double checking these, and 6.5 seems to be the line in this game now. So I'm probably not going to touch it at 6.5. If it gets back out to 7.5 or 8.5, 9.5, or if you want to alt line it that way to more than a touchdown, I'll take Auburn, because I don't think we get the quit. The pressure is off now. They can play a little more free. And if I'm the interim head coach here, I'm just saying, look, let's go back to Dart. Let's go back to Jackson
they
Arnold.
were saying Jackson Dart.
The wrong Jackson. Let's go back to Jackson Arnold and just see if we're not structuring him and being so rigid. If he plays a little bit better. That's probably what I would do. But if they go to Ashton Daniels, there is not a chance I would take Auburn in this game. So let's wait to see what quarterback they announce, if we get one, and to see what's going on here. I think for the most part, I'm probably going to stay away from this one. But if this gets up to 8.5, 9.5 in Vandy's favor, I'll probably go back on Missouri here, or on Auburn here. Excuse me.
The annual Navy Notre Dame game is about to go down in the primetime slate, with the 10th ranked Fighting Irish laying between 25.5 and 26.5 points on the 7-1 Midshipmen. Navy, they just picked up their first loss of the season last week to North Texas, but they actually have not covered against the spread since week 3. Their 82nd ranked total defense has allowed 4 straight teams to go over 31 points, and there's some pretty bad teams in there. There's Air Force, there's Temple, and not the best offenses and teams in general. And their top-ranked Russian offense could only find the end zone twice against the Mean Green last week, which is really letting everyone score. Notre Dame, they are in off a 25-10 win over Boston College. Did fail to cover in that game, falling to just 3-5 ATS this season. Their running back, though, Jeremiah Love, he's starting to pick up some real steam here, starting to mix it up in this Heisman conversation a bit, averaging 138 rushing yards, 1.5 touchdowns per game over the past 4 weeks. Boggs, will Navy be able to slow him down and this 14th ranked scoring offense of the Notre Dame Fighting Irish?
I think this might be too many points for Notre Dame to cover against Navy.
That's a lot. I wasn't expecting it to be this many.
Points. Yeah, me neither. When we put this one on the sheet of games,
I was thinking 18.5, 20 maybe.
Yeah, 17.5 to 20. I think that is probably a little bit more appropriate. I thought 20.5 was as high as we could go, 3 touchdowns, less than 3 touchdowns. I think that is where I kind of expected this to be. So, I don't. Was Navy looking past UNT in that game, do you think? I don't think you can.
I don't think you can with the conference championship and the implications it had. So I don't know. I just feel like they didn't show up for once. Horvath was not good in that game. Neither was any of the running backs really effective.
Yeah, they're never really in that game. They got shut down in the red zone. When they got there, they had 8 penalties, right? But Notre Dame only really has the one impressive win against USC. And then they had the close losses to Miami and Texas A&M. Probably their next most impressive games is because they were close to beating those teams.
Yeah.
I think that they're way better than Navy, but I think 25 points is just the bottom line there. That's too many points to cover. So I'll lean on Navy here, but I don't really trust them after that gross performance that we saw against North Texas. And I also understand the logic that says, hey, Navy or Notre Dame is way better than North Texas, so they should beat the bejesus out of Navy here. So I get that. I just don't think I want to put my dollars behind it. So I'll lean towards Navy because it's too many points to me. I'm really not been so impressed with what Notre Dame has done. I don't care if you win out the rest of your schedule when you have the rest of this crappy schedule, right? You beat one ranked team and USC, you lost the other two. Your schedule needs to be harder if you want to be taken seriously. So I'm kind of glad Navy lost last week so Notre Dame couldn't stop their undefeated season here. So I want nothing to do with Notre Dame.
Yeah, I maybe would look at a Navy team total over. I know even though they've gotten blown out a couple times by Notre Dame, they continue to usually put up points in this game, even if it's not a ton. So depending on that team total over, like if it's 14.5, maybe 17.5 points, I'd maybe mess around with that potentially. That would be something I would look forward to just because Notre Dame's defense, I mean, they're getting better, but they're still not good. So that's kind of my take. But again, take that with a grain of salt because I'm 0-2 picking Navy games so far this season.
I've never been good with Notre Dame. So
yeah. Let's go ahead, though. Let's round out the program with another SEC headliner coming in the primetime slate with the number 4 Alabama Crimson Tide. They're hosting the 5-3 LSU Tigers as 9.5 to 10.5 point favorites. LSU also on the dead cat pounce after firing Brian Kelly ahead of their bye week and losing 3 of their last 4 SEC matchups. They'll try to get this offense going that Garrett Nussmeier has somehow led to the 84th, ranked scoring offense. The roster strength is there. The total defense is still strong as well, but we'll see if interim head coach and running back coach Frank Wilson III can figure out something on offense here because it just has not been good. They're currently 3-5 ATS this season as well. Bama, they're coming off the bye as well. 7 straight wins to get to 7-1 straight up. 5-3 ATS. Ty Simpson, this guy is making NFL caliber throws all season long outside of that Florida State game. The defense slowly also getting into shape, ranking 20th in scoring, 24th in yards allowed. So, Bugs, this is another one that feels somewhat trappy from a spread perspective just because of the dead cat bounce. So I'm off it, but do you see any value out there either on the Tide or on the Tigers maybe?
I think I'm with you. I think, you have dead cat bounce versus Alabama with a bye week, right? That's a tough decision to make there. But we are showing slight value to LSU. Obviously, a lot of pressure is off. And they only need one more win to get to a bowl. But I think the thing that I want to see more for LSU is the offensive line shakeup after nearly getting Nussmeier killed. Cassius Howell, I'm sure you saw that hit when he decked Nussmeier to start that game. That was the tone setter of that game. There was no way LSU was going to come back after Nussmeier gets decked play 4. So I think you're going to see a mix up of some of these guys that are kind of on quit watch. And that's the thing is like, do we get LSU with the number 1 roster strength coming into this season? Do we get them playing free and easy? The pressure's off. The devil is dead. All of that. Brian Kelly is gone. We don't have to deal with all of that nonsense, that charlatan anymore. Or is it, these guys are transferring, we don't like what's going on with this program.
Thanks for the money.
So,
yeah.
So I'm not real sure. I would think you play for pride against Alabama, right? I think that is kind of where I keep landing on this is we play for pride against Alabama. And I'm not sure it matters though, with the way Simpson has been playing in Alabama, getting an extra week and coming off. I think the worst thing that could have happened for LSU was South Carolina had a really good chance to win that game and embarrassed Alabama in the last game they played. So I think, all things considered, I'm going to lean towards the Tide here, but I want to see which way this line goes. I'm going to wait and see if it ticks down towards Alabama, I'll be more likely to take them. But if it gets closer to 2 touchdowns, I'll probably take LSU because of the dead cat bounce. So this week, not my favorite week, Seth. I'll say that. A lot of really close games, a lot of weird scenarios for these games, and we haven't even got into proper weather reports yet this time of year either. So, a Wednesday we could be changing our tune in a couple of these matchups. So this is a very weird week. The Lions are going to shift. I feel like a decent amount, specifically in some of these games where the head coach was fired, Auburn and LSU. But I think at the end of the day, roll Tide.
Yeah, I agree with you about this slate, and it's just kind of that time of year where some upsets still brewing. We have a couple dead cat bounces here on this slate of games that we picked out specifically here as well. So just keep your head on a swivel.
Quit watch for a lot of these teams as well.
Yep. So it's the time to keep your head on a swivel for all that, everything going on potentially in the portal in just a few weeks when that opens back up as well. So a lot of shifting and shaking here in the college football landscape. We're going to continue to try to cover it all. Of course, later this week, we'll have our official picks and predictions show. We'll also have Boggs' best bets and player props episode with his full card. I'll have mine out on socials as usual that you can tail or fade. You've been better off fading him this season, but we'll see how it goes down the stretch here. And that's going to do it for us on this episode of the BettingPros College Football Show. Let us know down in the comments below your favorite Week 11 picks. And while you're here, make sure you're smashing that like button and subscribing to the channel if you're new. Also, be sure to download the BettingPros app and sync your books today. For Scott Bogman, I'm Seth Woolcock. Take care, y'all.